What's up, folks? Sean the Average Angler coming at you with another great video. And this one's really important and quite honestly often overlooked. People just don't think about this enough, in my opinion. And it's really important in your presentations of your baits and how we get to fight the fish back to the boat and all that kind of stuff. And not only that, but where we're fishing can affect which of these I'm using. I know to a lot of people, they just don't think about this, and oftentimes on this type of video, they don't hang around. But there's some really important information here that can help you decide on the proper product for what you're doing or trying to do. Now, what we're going to talk about today is fishing line. We're not getting into braid here. This is just your typical everyday fishing line that most of us use, and I picked some pretty popular ones based off the Tackle Warehouse bestsellers and some lines that I've used and have used for a long time, because I really haven't changed lines in a very long time. I've been using these brands for, well, gosh, 20 plus years, from back in the day when I was sponsored by Berkley. I used the Trilene 100% fluorocarbon. Great stuff, super strong. But we're going to get into a small little detail about these lines, because I want you to understand that whatever the pound test says it is, every company tests things different. And some companies want their line to be way stronger than what the rating is. An easy way to figure this out and know what you're really fishing with is to look at the line diameter down there. That's 0.16 for claimed 15-pound line. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking yo-zuri. I love yo-zuri line. It's fantastic stuff, by the way. Probably one of the best buys on the market. It is a fluorocarbon coated line. It's a nylon hybrid, so it has some stretch. What I want to tell you about this is that 15-pound is bigger than this 20-pound. Okay, this 20-pound line is 0.37. This 15-pound line is 0.38. So why would I use the yo-zuri? It's a much better buy. I think this 600-yard spool is about 12, 13, 14 bucks. And when you're fortunate enough to find the 110-yard spool of 20, and the reason I say that is because that fills up most normal reels for bass fishing. Okay, if you get a 165-yard spool, you're going to use just more than half, so you're not going to fill up 2 spools, and you got a bunch of wasted line you can use for leader material, but I don't use a whole lot of 20-pound leader. We're going to cover some. This is another one. Berkley Trilene, 15-pound, 100% fluorocarbon. Very, very good. Okay, super strong. But if you look at the diameter, again, 0.38. Look at that. 20-pound, 0.38. Okay, now I'm not disputing one over the other. This is what I'm going to tell you. This stuff is super strong, folks. So when you're looking at lines, look at line diameters and compare them, because what you'll find is that both this yo-zuri and this Trilene 100% fluorocarbon and 15-pound, their breaking strengths are around where that 20-pound is. And that's not a knock on Sunline. Sunline's 20-pound breaks just over 20 pounds, 21, 22, but I think you're going to find the same with these. Line strength has more to do with diameter. Now, the difference is here, this yo-zuri hybrid, it's 15, but it's a diameter of 20, 21. Yes, it is going to be stretchier than fluorocarbon, but because it's thicker diameter, it's going to be less stretch than, say, a 15-pound Berkley Big Game, which is another line I really like to use. No, it's dead on the same size as the fluorocarbon. So 0.38. This is 0.405. So this is actually the thickest line out of all the ones I mentioned, but I use it. It's very good stuff, very abrasion resistant, very strong, works for a lot of things, okay? You still get the fluorocarbon coating. It's not going to sink like pure fluorocarbon, but it still is a great product and very, very affordable. A couple others I looked up. 15-pound Seeger and Vizix. I looked it up because it's another very popular line. I don't have any in 15-pound. I have some 17. It's the exact same size as the 15 or 16-pound Sunline Sniper. Okay? The 16-pound Sniper is actually a fraction smaller, but if you go by millimeters, it's the same. Why would you use one over the other? Berkeley big game I will use for some topwater stuff, mostly walking and popping. Okay, it will still get in the water, but it doesn't sink like fluorocarbon. The yo-zuri, this time of year in springtime, I like to use this because of where I'm fishing, and the abrasion resistance on the yo-zuri hybrid is really good. When I want fluorocarbon, I'm going with from my line spooler, I'm going to go with Sunline. Sunline's been my longtime staple. You'll see I bought a 2,000 yard spool with a 15-pound trilene 100%. Like I said, much closer to 20. The diameter is the same as the 20-pound Sunline FC Sniper. So the point here is, since there's no metric for size and diameter, everybody's lines are different. So just pay a bit of attention to the thickness of the line, because if you're looking for a thin diameter line and you go with yo-zuri hybrid, this isn't a thin diameter line. So if you're doing something like cranking, this could take some action away, right? Or if you're throwing a rip bait and you want to throw it on 10-pound test, well, with the yo-zuri hybrid, their 10 is more like 14 or 15, and the FC Sniper's 10 is very thin, and the action's going to change on the bait. Could also change the rate of fall, especially if you're using a weightless type bait. If you want to slow down a Senko fall, then use something like a yo-zuri hybrid over a FC Sniper, because this sinks, this doesn't. Okay, the other thing, yo-zuri's just great all around. If you're on a budget and you're budget conscious, I highly recommend the yo-zuri hybrid. I use all these different lines for different purposes. And I do want to bring up, someone mentioned the other day, because I tied this up on my jig rod, and they mentioned that I was going to be losing sensitivity. While some, mostly manufacturers, trying to sell us more expensive lines, this is my opinion, only my opinion, I don't find a sensitivity difference. Now, you could get that in some lighter lines because of a bow in the line to your bait. However, I have a hair trigger. I tend to feel bites very, very well, and I actually want this to give the fish a little more time to get that bait fully in their mouth. In the springtime and the pre-spawn, sometimes if those fish are being a little funny, they'll pick the bait up and then do a second suck to get the bait in. So I don't necessarily want to hit them that fast. So this is just a slowdown mechanism for the average angler, and it gives me the confidence where I'm throwing it to just go ahead and throw it in there, that the line's going to be fine. In practice, I may decide to change that. Who knows? We'll have to see how it goes. But this is just a plan ahead of time. And I wanted to bring you guys up to speed so that you are a little more aware of line diameters and what it does, because this Sunline, sorry about the hole, this is 16-pound Sunline Sniper. It's 0.33 compared to 0.405. You can run your fingers over it and tell the difference, okay? A lot of times when I'm on the water, if my rod's not labeled, you'll see me run my hands up and down the line. I'm just feeling for what pound test I have on there because I can tell by the thickness. Now, if it's a yo-zuri, I may call it out as 20, running my fingers over it, that's 20 all day long. And I'm confident that the break strength in this is over 20. Now, I don't have all the stuff to test it, other than I've fished it for a long time. There are tests out there on the market or on YouTube that you can check out, line strength, breakage, and you'll see that what I'm saying is true. And usually Pure Fishing has a knot tying contest going on at shows, and I forgot if they use 10 or 15 pound big game, but you'll see the same thing. And anybody that ties a good knot, that line breakage is way beyond the rating of the line. Now, I will say that big game to me is a bit stretchier than the yo-zuri hybrid. The bigger line diameter you go up to, there's going to be less and less stretch. It's going to take more weight to get that line to do that stretch. The stretch is really, really good for treble hook baits. Takes some of the shock from that fish when they're up flailing their head trying to throw that bait. So just something else to keep in mind. A lot of swim bait guys throw Berkley big game in 25 pound tests because they want the stretch, the shock leader as you call it. And there's some other brands they use too, but I don't know all of them. These are what I use. I'm Sean, the Average Angler. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.